So I want to talk about you moved out to LA, right? And you were here in Chicago. So coming from comedians or any kind of actors or anything, they move out to LA to more opportunity. I think Chicago's a great town. There's a lot of opportunity here for open mics, things like that. Do you think your career would have taken the same arc had you stayed here in Chicago?
Well, the reason I moved out to Los Angeles, and you're right, Chicago's a great city to get started. A lot of comedy in this town, Second City, a lot of nice comedy clubs. But for me, I'm like, if I'm going to get into the entertainment business, I want to go to where it's kind of all happening. And that's why I moved out in 1998. To answer your question in regards to if it would have been the same, I have no idea. I just only know the path that I took, and it was basically a path of ignorance. I just didn't know any better. I was just like, all right, let me just go out to Los Angeles, and I wanted to get into TV and film as well. And if like you want to get into finance, you go into New York. If you want to get into entertainment business, you go to LA. So that's why I left.
So what did that look like when you first arrived in LA? You had what, 10 grand saved? You had really no plan. Did you have a plan? What was kind of your plan once you got, I'm finally here now what?
First plan was to get a job to supplement my income while I pursued the comedy. So 6-7 weeks trying to get a job waiting tables out in LA was really, really difficult for me, and I started to go through a lot of the 10 grand, and I started to get really worried, and then boom, out of nowhere, I get this job at the Four Seasons Hotel because the guy that was the food and beverage director at the time was from Chicago. And when I was talking to him, he's like, man, you got that accent, man. It brings me back home. We got to get you involved somewhere in this hotel. And boom, they put me into the Windows Lounge bar, and I worked there for 7 years while I was pursuing my craft.
Mm-hmm. And so, at what point in your career did you know, like, hey, this is a turning point. This is successful. I'm booking gigs. What was that point where like this is gonna take off now? I know this is going on a good path.
Right when I received the prosciutto rolls, I said, I made it. And there's a lot of those moments. It's not one specific moment, but my moment, I think, if I could narrow it down, when I started making a living doing stand-up comedy in 2005, I had thought, wow, I'm pursuing my dream and I'm getting paid for it. And I thought right there and then, I was like, this is I reached my goal. That was the only goal I had, was to make a living doing stand-up. But there's been much more that's happened after that that I could have never really dreamed of.
Right. Okay, so you just had a baby, Serafina. Now, I know you're on the road a lot. So does your wife and your kid, they come with you to certain shows? I imagine they're here today because you're coming home to Chicago. How do you balance that? The wife at home with the kid while you're still away. What's that dynamic?
Yes, they're here in Chicago, and they're gonna be with me through the whole run. So yeah, my daughter is 10 months, and this is her 9th city that she's been to. So yeah, we've been really bouncing around the country with her, and she's a great traveler, and yeah, I don't want to be the guy who just keeps the family at home while I go on the road. I mean, I can't do it all the time, but it's really nice to have my daughter and my wife with me, and these bigger cities that we go to, Boston, Chicago, New York, what have you. So yeah, we just throw her in a car seat, and she's really happy about it. So it's been great.
Good. And when you come back home, what are the places that you gotta go to? That you're really missing?
I love Portillo's. I have to go to Portillo's. I love Johnny's Beef and Lou Malnati's. Those are kind of like my three food hangs. And then other than that, I just like spending time with my family. I'm going to go to my father's house tomorrow night and see my aunt and uncle, and my sister's going to be there. My sister's actually in town. So, yeah, it's for me this time around, it's going to be just a relaxed kind of vibe, and see some friends and that I haven't seen in a while, and get to enjoy a little bit more of friends and family than I have in the past.
Good. Very good. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Been following you for a while. God bless you. We're really happy for you.
Thank you, man.
So that's all I got. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Signing off. Take care.